With the influx of migrants from Mexico and South America and Africa and Ukraine, you might say, coming into the United States, where are you going to put them? As New York has 100,000 extra bodies there and nowhere to put them. Chicago has the same problem. California has the same problem. People, if you're, say, from Mexico and you want to go house somewhere, you're going to go to California. But California has a big problem of homelessness. 10 cities in the streets of San Francisco. Well, we're going to put everybody into a cheap house, even if we have to put them in a warehouse. Or in Chicago, it would be tent city in the wintertime. Are you kidding? 30 degrees below zero, you're going to put somebody into a tent in Chicago? But you have tents all over Chicago. They're given away to the homeless. But they're still homeless. And you look in one of those tents, and my God, where's the person again? They're under blankets. They're laying on cardboard or possibly a pallet on the cement floor or the sidewalk or under a viaduct and that. And it's dangerous to walk. Lower Wacker Drive can be dangerous to walk in because the homeless doesn't mean the homeless are kind of sweet to you who have money. You have money? You have a car? Yes. You want to keep that car safe and not broken into? You have to pay me. But I'm parking down here. You have to pay me. It's going to cost you $10 if you park right there. And you basically extort money from anybody who parks under Lakeshore Drive, Yeah. And homeless in Chicago is extortion. Those who drive cars better pay me money or else. I can sit off with a rock and break all your windows. Yes. It's extortion. Many cars are being broken into because they're not paying off the local gangs. Oh, you better know it. Cars are being stolen. Your cars are being broken into. You have to pay off a local gang to keep your car safe. Or your house safe, your windows safe. Extortion. What happens? You have a large thing. Well, they do the same thing in Mexico. If you drive a car in Mexico and you don't want it broken into, you have to pay off somebody. The thing of doing business. But in homeless, it's that thing. How are they fed? Well, there's soup kitchens all over the place. Yes, you have to make sure they're fed. There are people who go out there, the city goes out there and gives out free coffee and rolls in the morning. Neighborhoods may have homeless in it, and they really want to keep their property and not the homeless property. You may find them, a little church opens up and gives them food. And sometimes the church opens up and it's a place to sleep at night. The local church, the library the city I'm in, there's a local church right down the street from the library. At night, they open up their doors to the homeless. And the homeless go there. And some of these homeless are waiting for apartments because there are new apartment buildings being built in the town, and 10% of those are supposed to be for the low-income people. So if you're paying $2,000 a month there's somebody else being on a Section 8. Oh, yeah. You have to have a low income. And, of course, what you do is you have influx of low-income people from Chicago coming into the local towns to live in the local towns. And they will go to the food banks, and they will go, they go to the food banks. They may pick up odd jobs, and they may be employed but that thing. One of the things in California is the high cost of living in a garage. What do you mean? A high cost of living in a garage or having a garage. Many garages in California don't have cars in their garages. They have bunk beds. They have families living in garages or multi-families living in garages. You have the main house and then you got the garage. Somebody compared it to plantations in the South. Oh, you have a house with a garage, and if you have the land, you may have another shed out there. Well, it's a roof over your head, sonny. You got walls, but it's a shed. Yeah, and they have a little outhouse over here. Being homeless in California is not a good place to go. You want to be in Chicago or New York or other cities. And what do you do with 100,000 or 200,000 migrants who cross the border each year? They have to be housed somewhere, or they become homeless. They become part of the tent city. And the part of the homeless problem is also a mental illness problem. Studies have shown that it's mental illness, or you lose your house because you don't make enough money to keep up the mortgage payment or the rental of thing. You lose your apartment because you can't afford the $3,000 a month. Yeah. For an apartment? Yeah. Some of the high-tech areas, it's, you're talking $50,000 a year to sleep in a bedroom. Yeah, it's very expensive because the prices keep going up. I was told by a relative that they basically they have a house, they have a garage, and they rent the garage out. It's cheaper to have a motorbike, which you can basically, they have a ramp, and they bring their motorbikes inside at night, but their garages, they rent it out. Sometimes they have a couple families living there, but they rent the garage out. They rent the shed out in the back. You get a single person who wants a place to sleep with a roof over their heads. There's a bunk bed in the shed in back. You go to Home Depot, you get yourself a shed of some size, and you can put bunk beds inside there. And you can have a little outhouse and a little this and a little that. But that's California. That's homeless. They're trying to pass a law in California that's saying is very simple. Nobody who owns a house, a single person cannot own a house. So if your husband or wife dies, you may find yourself forced to take someone in, possibly a family. Welcome to America. Right now, you got 350 million people. By the end of this century, you're supposed to have 1 billion people in the United States. And that was put out by the U.S. Department of something or other. They estimated by the end of the century, you have 1 billion people. You will now no longer have single-family residents. My mother, her husband has died. Dear old daddy is dead. My mother has a house. Okay? She lives there by herself. Very likely, sometime in the future, they're going to say, you can't live there by yourself. You have to have somebody to come in there and help pay your bills or something like that. You may be forced to have a family come in there and live with you, even though you don't want a family in there. You will not have a choice. If it's up to the Republicans, yeah, if it's up to the Republicans. Hey, they're interfering with Social Security. They're trying to kill it. Have everything tied into the stock market. Are you kidding? Yeah, they're also trying to take away your any pensions you have, any IRA you have, any 401k you have, so they can dump it into Social Security. You're basically will get a check. You work hard for everything you do. You won't have any savings. Thank you to the Republican Party, Donald Trump. Did you get that? About lots of four-letter words. But basically, homeless is really a problem in cities that have, every new housing project has to have 10% of the apartments for low-income people. And if you're homeless in Chicago and you're not in Section 8, and that's another big problem. If people in this apartment building is spending $2,000 a month to rent an apartment, and you get somebody with Section 8 coming in there, big difference. I knew of a development in Kildare, outside of Kildare. Supposed to have 100 units of expensive apartments. Really rent, And they were told, you have to have 10% of low income. What do you mean low income? Well, you can't charge $3,000 a month or $2,000, $3,000 a month. They have to be lower income. And they said, no. But homeless is a problem. An estimated 1 million people in the United States right now are homeless, with the extra people coming in from other countries who come here and they don't have anything. They're homeless. They don't have a job. In Chicago, they're trying to get the migrants getting green cards. That's before the legitimate, say, Afghans or Ukrainians who come here can't get green cards because that thing, but you're giving basically migrants green cards so they can go get a job. Oh, really now? That's interesting. I don't know. Well, I'm not homeless. Not yet.